First story, title, The Thing That Waits in Rain. It was a little after midnight when I hit Route 36, headed west toward Waco, Texas. The rain had been coming down hard since dusk, making the road a mirror of red and white lights. I was alone in my Audi Q7, the wipers thudding back and forth like a heartbeat, steady but tense. I'm not the kind of guy who scares easy. I've served 2 tours overseas, driven in worse weather than this, but something about that night, it made my skin crawl. Maybe it was the storm, maybe it was the silence on the radio, or maybe it was what I saw back near Temple. I remember the exact mile marker, mile 47. There was a flash of lightning, and for a sec the whole highway lit up. That's when I saw it, standing in the road. Tall, thin, pale as bone, not human. I slammed on the brakes, tires skidding on the slick asphalt, the ABS fighting to hold control. My heart was pounding as I stared into the distance, trying to see where the figure had gone. But there was nothing. No shape, no sound, just the rain hammering the hood. I should have turned around then, but I didn't. A few miles later, my headlights caught something again. Only this time it wasn't standing still. It was crawling across the road like a broken animal, limbs too long, knees bending the wrong way. I slowed down, thinking maybe it was a deer or something hurt, but when my lights hit its face, I realized it had no eyes. Just dark, sunken sockets and a slit of a mouth that started to open. I gunned it. I didn't care if I hydroplaned into a ditch, I just wanted to get the hell out of there. 10 minutes passed, maybe 15, and I started thinking maybe I'd imagined it. I turned the heater up, trying to shake the cold crawling under my skin. Then the stereo turned on by itself. No music, just static. Then a voice. My voice. It repeated something I hadn't said out loud. Something I had only thought. I should have turned around. My blood ran cold. I pulled over, heart racing, hands shaking. I opened the door, rain pouring in. I stepped out into the storm, yelling at the empty woods. "Who's out there?" No answer. I checked the back seat, empty. Looked under the car, nothing. Got back in, locked the doors, kept driving. But now, every time the lightning flashed, I saw it. Not out on the road, but in the rearview mirror. Just standing behind the car. Still. Watching. I stopped checking the mirror, just stared straight ahead and drove. But it didn't stop. When I passed through Lorena, the power in the whole town went out. Every house dark. Traffic lights dead. The storm raged, but there wasn't a single car in sight. Just me. And the thing. It was beside the road now, pacing me. Keeping up with 60 miles per hour like it was walking through a field. I saw it clearly. Long arms, no eyes, skin like wet clay, and its mouth was moving. Not speaking, mimicking, repeating the words on the radio. "Turn around, turn around, turn around." I didn't. I pushed harder on the gas. 80, 90. The trees blurred. The road narrowed. I had to focus to keep from sliding off. Then silence. No rain, no wind. The road was dry. I looked around. No sign of the thing. The stereo was dead. Phone too. I breathed finally. Maybe I'd outrun it. That's when I saw the sign. "Welcome to Black Hollow." There's no such town in Texas. Not one I've ever heard of. But there it was. A gas station. A diner. Houses. All abandoned. Except the lights were on. I drove slowly, pulling into the gas station. The pump screen was blinking, but no numbers. No price. I went inside. Everything looked frozen in time. Coffee still in mugs, chairs tucked in, a TV was on, playing an old emergency broadcast loop. Then I saw the photo on the wall. It was me. Standing in front of the station smiling, but I had no eyes. I turned and ran, but the door was gone. Just a wall, no windows, no exit. And behind me, I heard the wet slap of feet on linoleum. It whispered. My voice again, "You should have turned around." I screamed. Everything went black. I woke up back in my car, engine off, parked on the side of the road near mile 47, but the passenger seat was wet, and there was a handprint on the inside of the windshield. Third story, the White Mile. I never liked driving at night. There's something about the way the headlights carve tunnels through the darkness, making everything outside that cone of light feel like a forgotten world. But that Tuesday night, I had no choice. My sister had gone into early labor in Tacoma, and I needed to get to her before morning. The quickest way was Highway 34, a mostly empty stretch through the dense Washington woods. I had taken that road before, but never past midnight. Around 1 o'clock, the trees started to look wrong. Not scary exactly, just too still. No wind, no crickets, no lights from farmhouses or passing cars, just my old Honda humming along and the occasional thump of expansion joints under the tires. About 20 miles in, I saw the sign, White Mile, 1 mile ahead. I didn't remember that being there. The sign was old, rusted, the letters barely legible. I figured it was some local name for a part of the highway, maybe something historic. I didn't give it much thought. Then the GPS glitched. It froze, screen dimming to black before rebooting with a low electronic chirp. I tapped it. Nothing. My phone still had signal, but it was stuck at the same location, entering White Mile. That's when the fog rolled in. Not a light mist. This was thick, crawling, almost too dense to see past the hood. I slowed down to 20 miles per hour. The high beams just bounced back at me. And then I saw her. She stood right on the edge of the road. A young woman, barefoot, wearing a soaked white dress that clung to her like second skin. Her long black hair was matted, hanging over her shoulders, and her arms dangled lifelessly at her sides. I swerved, heart-hammering, but when I looked in the rearview mirror, she was gone. No one could disappear that fast. Unless she wasn't real. I kept driving, too shaken to stop. A few minutes later, she was in the middle of the road. Just standing there, I slammed the brakes. The car skidded, tires screeching on the wet asphalt, stopping inches from her. But again, when I blinked, nothing. The road was empty. Panic crept in. I wanted to turn around, but the fog behind me was even thicker now, swallowing the red glow of my taillights. I had no choice but to keep going forward. Then I noticed the mile marker. Mile 00. That couldn't be right. I had seen mile 21 a few minutes ago. How could I be at 0? That's when the radio, which had been silent all night, crackled to life. A voice, no music, just static and a whisper. I couldn't make it out at first. I leaned closer. Don't stop. She's waiting. I yanked the cord from the dash. Silence. But something had changed. The trees lining the highway looked burnt, twisted into impossible shapes. Their trunks blackened, leaves shriveled. My headlights caught a sign. White Mile, begin again. I had seen that same sign 10 minutes ago. I pressed the gas, 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. But no matter how far I drove, I stayed in that same mile. Same trees, same fog, same silence. Then I saw the car. It was parked on the shoulder, hazard lights flashing weakly. Same make, same model, same color as mine. I slowed down, staring through the passenger window, and saw myself in the driver's seat. Dead. My head was tilted back, mouth open in a silent scream, blood running from my nose and ears. I hit the gas, heart screaming in my chest, and tore down the road. But the mile wouldn't end. The fog grew darker, thicker, like smoke. And she was back. This time she was right in front of the car. I didn't swerve. I hit her. Or tried to. The car passed through her like she was made of mist. But inside the car, she was in the back seat. I didn't hear her climb in. I didn't hear the door. I just felt the cold behind me, the chill of breath on my neck. I looked in the rearview mirror. Her face was inches from mine, eyes black as oil. Smiling. I slammed the brakes, the car spun, tires shrieking. When it stopped, everything was silent again. No fog, no girl, no forest, just darkness. The car wouldn't start. My phone was dead. I stepped out, the night air heavy. I walked down the road trying to find help. That's when I saw the sign again. White Mile, 1 mile ahead. I ran. No idea how long. My legs burned, lungs gasped. But the sign was always there ahead of me, no matter how far I went. I'm still here, still walking, still trapped. If you ever find yourself on Highway 34 and see a sign for the White Mile, turn around, because once you enter, you don't leave. You just start over, again and again, until you forget you were ever real. Second story whispers on Route 66. They always said Route 66 was cursed, but I never believed in that kind of talk. I'm not superstitious. I've driven trucks across every corner of the states for over 10 years. Rain, snow, wind, you name it, I've been through it. But that night, somewhere between Seligman and Peach Springs, Arizona, I came face to face with something I still can't explain. It was just after midnight when I pulled out of a rundown gas station, the kind with buzzing neon lights and a clerk who didn't say a word, just stared. I remember thinking the silence was odd. No music, no road chatter, just the soft hum of the engine and the crackling radio trying to find a signal. I was hauling a load of old furniture westbound, nothing special. The road was empty, the desert around me a black void. I kept driving, the white lines blurring into one another, when I noticed the first sign. A wooden plank nailed crooked to a rusted post, half buried in sand. "Turn back," scrawled in faded red paint. I thought it was a prank, kids or some roadside artist with too much time. But then another appeared a mile later. The road doesn't forgive. I laughed, nervous laughter. My palms were sweaty, but I told myself it was just the heat. The AC wasn't working great, that's all it was. Then the headlights flickered, just for a second. That's when the radio came alive. Static morphed into a whisper. Not music, not talk radio, just a voice, low, crackling. "Keep driving." I tapped the dial, switched it off, silence again. A few minutes passed and I started seeing things on the side of the road. Figures, not clear, just shapes standing still. Watching. I slowed down, squinting into the dark. No one, maybe my eyes playing tricks. Then the third sign. "You were warned." A chill ran down my spine. I reached for my phone, no signal. Of course, I kept going. What else could I do? The road narrowed, the desert looked wrong, warped, stretched like old rubber. My headlights barely cut through the black. Then I saw her. A woman in the middle of the road, pale, long black hair, wearing a tattered white dress. She didn't move. I slammed the brakes, tires screeched, the truck swerved. I stopped inches from her. She vanished. Gone. No trace. I sat there, heart racing. Then came the knock, on my driver's side window. I turned. No one. Another knock, passenger side, still nothing. Then whispers. Inside the cab, behind me, clear as day. He doesn't know. He's already dead. I spun around. Empty cab. The engine stalled. Silence. I sat frozen. Then the radio turned itself back on. Static. Then music. A slow, warped version of "You Are My Sunshine." The childlike voice twisted off-key. The cab lights flickered, then died. Darkness. I started the engine. It coughed, then roared back to life. I floored it. I didn't care what was ahead, I just had to get away. Miles flew by, signs blurred past. No escape. He rides with you. You took his road. Then the laughter, deep, guttural. It came from the sleeper cabin. I didn't look. I couldn't. My mirrors twisted on their own. I saw faces in them, screaming, crying, rotting, all looking at me. And then, the woman again, in front of me. I hit her, or I should have. The truck passed right through, like smoke. And I was no longer on Route 66. The road had changed. Twisted trees on either side, branches scraping the trailer. The air was thick, humming. The signs were rusted, bent backwards. The sky above was red. And my GPS? It just said one word. Shh, penance. I tried to turn around, but there was no turn, only forward. The woman appeared in my passenger seat. She didn't move, just stared ahead, her eyes bleeding black tears. "I told you not to come," she whispered. I screamed. I swerved. Nothing helped. The road never ended. Hours, days, I don't know anymore. The fuel gauge hasn't moved. The truck drives itself. Sometimes I sleep. When I wake, she's still there, or someone else is. Last night, it was a child with no face. Tonight, it's a man in army fatigues with a shattered skull. They don't talk. Just watch. I don't know where I am. I don't even know if I'm alive. If you ever find yourself on Route 66 and it's past midnight and the radio whispers to you, don't keep driving. Don't make my mistake.